guys, it's Miss Checka. I am in the very small town of Newport Pagnell, about 50 miles from London, and I am standing in the middle of their town common. I wanted to tell you about a little battle that happened here during the English Civil War, but in order to do that, I was going to give you a little background information about the Civil War. So first of all, not 1865. This is not the Union in the South. That's us. That's the U.S. Put that out of your mind, all right? Put yourself instead in the middle of the 1600s, okay? So England, 1600s. Their system of government here is a monarchy. They have a parliament, which is their governing body, and like us, they have a document that is kind of their founding document, all right? Theirs is called the Magna Carta. This is important for you to know because the ideas that are in the Magna Carta, some of those ideas influenced our system of government when our Constitution was written, all right? So one of the ideas in the Magna Carta is, yes, there's a king, the king's in power, but there are other people who have authority to rule in a country, all right? So put yourself in the middle of the 1600s and you've got a king. His name is King Charles. And he was not just a king, he was a king who really believed that he should be the most powerful, not Parliament, right? He believed in the divine right of kings. That meant that his authority came straight from God. Therefore, if he said it, it must be true, all right? That is both something, I would like to have that kind of power, right? I'm a divinely appointed teacher, I'm a divinely appointed governor, whatever, but it's also sort of a dangerous idea because if you truly think that everything that comes out of your mouth is sanctioned by God, you start to think that everything that you say is right. So that's a pretty dangerous way to rule a government. So the people who followed him, supported him, were royalists. This makes sense. You support the king and the monarchy, you're a royalist. On the other side, you had the Roundheads, which is a hilarious name that had to do with their haircut. I am not making that up, all right? Picture this. King Charles and his court, everybody had very long, fashionable ringlets, even the men, all right? So picture the king, you know, his royal outfit, but also his royal luxurious locks. And then if you were a guy in the court, if you're a courtier, you would also want to have these long, luxurious, it would look like you had a blowout, okay? Look this up. It's kind of amazing looking. Their hair game was strong in the middle of 1600s. The Roundheads, they thought, no, we don't want to have a monarch absolute power. We believe in the Magna Carta. We believe in the authority of the Parliament, who is the governing body, right? Not just one guy, many guys. So they kind of in protest to the excesses of the fashion of the court, they gave themselves really severe and kind of terrible looking haircuts. Evidently, rule by, not the king also translates into really bad hair game. Hair not on fleek. So they had a very close cut hairdo and it was round. So they're called the Roundheads. Okay, that's a lot in the hair. Point being, you've got the Roundheads on this side, you've got the Royalists on this side, all kinds of stuff went down. The king, first of all, was executed. A guy named Oliver Cromwell comes into power. He exiles the king's son. Stuff goes down. That's probably another video. Eventually, Cromwell dies of natural causes, but by this time, lots of battles and wars and stuff has happened. Stuff has gone down, and Cromwell's side is on the outs. So people actually disinter his body from Westminster Abbey. That means that his body was buried because he's dead. They take it out of the ground, put the dead body on trial, and then execute it. That's how strongly people felt about Cromwell, All right, so that's the English Civil War. Now, you're asking yourself, Miss Checka, why are you in this field talking about the English Civil War? Well, it's because one of the battles was fought here. So this is what happened. The Royalists come into Newport Pagnell, middle of the 1600s, they just take it over, right? I'm a Royalist, taken over this town, boom. So what do you do if you take over a town militarily? Well, you put your troops here, right? What's the obvious place to put them? You put them in the common and you build defenses. So the royalist who is in charge of the military at this outpost starts to build defenses, and they're actually quite clever. He builds these defenses, and that way the town is protected against the Roundheads coming in and trying to take it over. Everything would have been fine for him had he just stayed put, kept his army there and used the defenses that he built. Somebody sent him a message and he didn't read it correctly. You guys, how many times has Miss Checka told you? Read carefully, read slowly. This guy did not do this. He reads this message, and somehow what he takes from the message is that he is supposed to take his troops and leave the town, which he does. So obviously, with the town left undefended and the troops out, Roundheads come in, take over the town. Town becomes a Roundhead town. So that is the story of the battle in the English Civil War of Newport Pagnell right here. Miss Checka out with her flowing locks. Yes, I'm a royalist. That's it.